How to charge a Nintendo Switch without the dock. Generally, you're on the go and it's good to recharge your Nintendo change's battery, however you don't have your dock with you. Whether or not you're enjoying the change whereas charging or leaving it in standby mode, right here's how one can cost in a pinch, and one of the simplest ways to do it. The official technique to recharge a change and not using a dock. The official Nintendo Switch AC adapter. Each the change and change Lite embrace an official Nintendo Switch AC adapter within the field while you buy them. Most individuals use this adapter to energy the dock, which, in flip, powers the change. However, it's also possible to unplug the AC adapter from the dock and plug it immediately into the change. The official Nintendo Change AC adapter supplies sufficient energy to cost the change within the quickest, best means. It additionally supplies sufficient present to recharge the battery whilst you play, though the charging price can be slower than letting the change recharge in standby mode. So, if you realize you'll be utilizing your change on the go, both take the Nintendo Change AC adapter with you or purchase a second one for journey. You can additionally attempt a third-party Change AC adapter, like this one from Amazon Basics. In response to Nintendo, all fashions of the Change console take about 3 hours to fully charge in standby mode, whereas utilizing the official Nintendo Change AC adapter. How one can cost a Nintendo Change utilizing a USB cable. All fashions of Nintendo Change use USB-C for the charging port on the underside of the unit. So, in a pinch, you may cost it with any USB-C cable plugged into an influence supply, equivalent to a pill/smartphone charger, battery pack, PC, or USB hub. The pace at which the battery recharges, and whether or not it really powers the change for play, varies wildly depending on the power source. So far as cables go, any well-made USB-A to USB-C cable will work with enough energy supply to cost the change. Nevertheless, this technique limits the maximum power to 7.5 watts as a result of Change's design. That's sufficient to play and cost concurrently, however not on the quickest price. The Change additionally helps the next wattage charging mode that prices the battery a lot quicker. Nevertheless, it requires a USB-C to USB-C cable with a high wattage energy supply, equivalent to a MacBook Pro 61-watt USB-C charger, or a specifically made Change AC adapter. Minimal necessities to cost whereas enjoying, to have your Change's battery recharge, even when slowly, whilst you play a sport, you want an influence supply that may provide at the least 5 volts and 1.5 amps, or 7.5 watts, of energy. Extra amps are higher for quicker battery charging. Minimal necessities to cost in standby mode. Without the dock, Nintendo doesn't present an official lower limit of present wanted for charging the Change in standby mode. From our personal testing, it seems the Change will recharge from an influence supply that may output as little as 5 volts at fractions of an amp, equivalent to 400 mA/0.4A, however charging can be sluggish. Typically, the extra amps you could have obtainable, the quicker the Change will cost. The perfect output for standby charging from generally obtainable USB adapters, like these you discover at a comfort retailer, is round 5 volts and a couple of amps. Each devoted USB energy adapter or battery pack ought to have a tiny label that lists its energy output. It'll say one thing like output, 5 volts/1A, which implies it could present a most of 5 volts at 1 amp of present, or 5 watts of energy. These are the numbers you need. The technical particulars about Nintendo Change charging. Charging the Nintendo Switch. The technical particulars of how every Change mannequin receives energy and prices in numerous modes go far beyond what most people need to know. Should you taken with digging deeper, or need an optimum technique to cost the Change whereas enjoying, somebody on Reddit made a complex chart that explores the varied choices. Informal studies have also been done on how a lot energy the Change consumes in numerous eventualities. In fact, since these research aren't official, you would possibly need to take them with a grain of salt.